Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is OU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Toby Rowland with you. I hope you have enjoyed our play-by-play series. We got another great one this week as we welcome in now the play-by-play voice of the Auburn Tigers, my good friend Andy Burcham, as we get set for the SEC opener coming up on Saturday in Norman. Before we get started, don't forget, please like and subscribe. I don't know why you're supposed to do that, but you're supposed to do that. That's what the people that are my bosses say. Like and subscribe, please, everyone. Right now, like and subscribe. Andy, how you doing today, bud?
Toby, I'm doing well. I'm very much looking forward to my first ever trip to Norman, Oklahoma. I've been to Tulsa. That's it. That's the only time I've been to Oklahoma, so I'm looking forward to this first trip to Norman and what should be just a terrific battle between the Tigers and the Sooners on Saturday.
Well, Tulsa is a great town, and we have a lot of viewers up in Tulsa as well. You got more than just a football game of a reason to come down here, right?
Got family. My youngest brother works at OU. He works in their music department. He's an opera professor. And so it's with Oklahoma joining the league now and the fact that we'll make two trips to Norman this year, one for football, one for basketball. It gives me an opportunity to see my youngest brother and his family. So looking forward to that on Friday night.
He is somewhat famous in these parts. If you're a Sooner fan, Dr. Burcham, right? I believe it's Dr. Burcham.
It is, yes.
Is the one that famously sings the national anthem many times at the OU basketball games and gets a standing ovation every time. So that'll be neat. Well, we are 3 games into the season for both of us. 3-0 start for Auburn. What has been your impression of the Tigers so far this year?
Well, Auburn picked up a very important win. I don't know how big of a win it was, but the win on opening night at Baylor was big for Auburn for a confidence boost. It was big for momentum and getting ready for this Saturday. And it's a 3-0 Auburn team that now comes into Norman on Saturday. And to win that game by 2 touchdowns was important for Auburn as well. So, you know, you win at Baylor, then you win 2 games at home that you're supposed to win, and now you're 3-0, and now you get ready for the gauntlet of the SEC and Auburn now. And Auburn's next 7 games are all in Southeastern Conference play, and many against teams that Auburn lost to a year ago at home, and now you're playing these games on the road, and that starts with Oklahoma on Saturday.
What have they done well early? What has impressed you by how they've played early?
2 things. Well, let me give you 3. 1, Auburn has run the ball very, very well, and Jackson Arnold was terrific on opening night at Baylor with 136 yards and a couple touchdowns. So Auburn's run game has been very solid in his first 3 games. On the other hand, Auburn is number 2 in the SEC against the run. Really took away the run at Baylor, gave up -3 yards against an outmanned Ball State team, and did a good job last week against South Alabama against the run. So that's 2 things. And maybe the most important thing is the fact that Auburn has minimized turnovers. Auburn is actually +2 in the turnover margin this year. And I refer back to 3 games in September a year ago. Oklahoma's one of those games at Jordan-Hare Stadium where Auburn lost to Cal, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and turnovers were enormous in all 3 of those games. And I know the Oklahoma fans remember the pick 6 by Kip Lewis. I will never forget it. As it turned out, it was the difference in that game for Oklahoma. And I'll tell you, I think the Oklahoma loss for Auburn a year ago was its toughest. Its toughest by far of the season was that loss to the Sooners at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I am proud that we are now almost 4 minutes into this conversation and have not yet grasped the low-hanging fruit, but here we go. I'm going to grab it now. Jackson Arnold is headed back to Norman, played here last year, and now he's Auburn's starting quarterback. How do you feel like he has handled the week? Let's start there. This week, I'm sure, has been maybe emotional. I don't know. There's a lot of storylines. Everybody's asking about him. How have you noticed that he's handled the week?
Well, he talked about it after the game Saturday, after Auburn's win against South Alabama. He has not been in the media or with the media since. So Auburn has minimized that part of it. Everything that has been said, though, by Jackson, by Auburn, by Oklahoma, for that matter, I think has been the right thing to say. I don't think there's been bulletin board material, at least to this point, by either side going in. I think he's handled it. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what he goes through as he gets ready to come back to Norman. I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, he knew this was on the schedule when he transferred to Auburn. And then add the wrinkle to all this, Toby, that he did not play in this game last year for Oklahoma against Auburn. So that's an interesting little wrinkle to this one. But I'm sure there's some emotions. There are still friends on this Oklahoma team that I'm sure he wants to be able to see after the game, and he wants to beat during the game, and vice versa. So I think both sides have handled it well, and now we get ready to play it on Saturday.
I can't wait to see what the fan reaction is going to be. There are guys, and I brought up earlier in the week when Caleb Williams left and went to USC, that, you know, if he had come back, that would have been ugly because Sooner fans didn't want to see him go and the way that Lincoln Riley departed and everything. But it was different with Jackson. I don't think there's any hard feelings. I think that Sooner fans understand he was put in a very bad situation last year. It would have been hard for any quarterback to succeed. And yet now he's the starting quarterback of the visiting team that's trying to hand you your first loss. So I'm sure it'll be a mixed reaction, but it is an interesting storyline nonetheless. How has he played so far through 3 games in your mind?
In his 3 games, he has done exactly what Auburn needed him to do in the game. Against Baylor, it was the run game. Baylor decided to take the pass away from Auburn, played 2 high safeties, and Auburn ran the ball up and down the field. And he and Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb just combined to run Baylor into the ground. Against Ball State, they decided to try and take the run away. And so Auburn with a controlled passing attack, and he was 24 of 28 in that game with no interceptions. And then last week it was more balanced, and he scored 2 more touchdowns running the football. So he has done what Auburn has needed him to do. And the most important thing, or among the most important things, Toby, is the fact that he has, nor has Auburn, turned the ball over in the first 3 games. And that will be an enormous key this Saturday against Oklahoma.
With all the talk about Jackson,
yeah,
it's the weapons around him that, you know, are certainly different than he had a year ago and that make this Auburn offense so dangerous in my mind. You mentioned Jeremiah Cobb, but Cam Coleman is incredible. Eric Singleton, Horatio Fields, they've all played great this year. Talk about those skill position guys.
And I think we'll see Damari Alston this Saturday. He has not played since that opener against Baylor, and Auburn will have a 2-headed monster in that backfield with Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb. And they're different runners. I mean, Alston is more of the all-around back. Cobb has better breakaway speed. They have both played well in the games in which they played this season. The wide receiver room has garnered the most attention. As you mentioned, Eric Singleton, who was the top portal transfer as a wide receiver in the country coming in from Georgia Tech. And he's a multi-tool weapon, not only as a pass catcher, but running the jet sweep. He's a returner and has been very, very good for Auburn in his first 3 games. And then you have the likes of Cam Coleman and just a really good wide receiver room. And Fields has been a nice addition to Coleman as well. So that is good. Here's the one key, though, Toby, that I think a lot doesn't garner as much attention because it's not the shiny part of it, is Auburn's offensive line. This is the best offensive line that Auburn has had in quite some time at all 5 spots. And then add one more guy in Toby Miller that comes off the bench and can play tackle and guard for Auburn as well. Now, Auburn will be tested by as good a defensive front as it's seen perhaps since it played Alabama last year in the Iron Bowl in Oklahoma this week. Auburn dominated the line of scrimmage against Baylor. It did the same thing against Ball State and South Alabama, but none of those teams are the likes of Oklahoma that Auburn gets this week. But Auburn, I think, is much more equipped to face a defense like Oklahoma this year, and especially up front.
Toby Miller, by the way, one of the great names in all of college football right there. We're going to talk some defense. Before we do, here's a word from our sponsors at Brahms.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with a Brahms old-fashioned banana split. Crafted with a delicious banana, split down the middle and filled with not 1, but 3 scoops of Brahms premium ice cream flavors. To complete this masterpiece, all your favorite toppings are poured on each scoop to bring it all together in a perfect harmony of flavor. Treat yourself to an old-fashioned banana split at Brahms, where every spoonful leaves you wanting more.
All right, let's talk about what we've seen out of Auburn defensively so far, Andy. They're great on that side of the ball, too. What are the names people should know on that side of the ball, obviously, other than Keldrick Falk, who I think everybody knows at this point. Yeah.
All right, you took that one away from me. All right.
Yeah.
Let me
talk about him, too.
Well, he is a guy that has been a starter for Auburn since he came to Auburn as a true freshman, and will likely be Auburn's next first-round draft pick. That he is that good on the left side. As good as he is, Kieron Crawford even has better numbers on the other side as the buck linebacker, that rush end for Auburn. Transferred to Auburn a year ago from Arkansas State. He is Auburn's leading tackler. He is Auburn's leading tackle for loss, and he's Auburn's leading sack guy. A year ago, he was good at getting to the quarterback. He did not finish. He led Auburn in quarterback hurries a year ago, but he didn't get the sacks. Well, he has taken that next step. So I love Auburn's two guys on the edge. If there is a surprise for this defense, Toby, it's the two spots in the middle. And while there's not that marquee player, there's not that Keldrick Falk in the middle, Auburn has a rotation of 6 to 8 guys that will play at nose tackle and defensive tackle. So these guys are getting 15, 18, 20 snaps a ball game, and that's all.
Wow.
So they don't have to play 30 snaps in the middle of that defensive line. That was a big question mark for Auburn. Through the first 3 games, it has been a strength for Auburn at nose tackle and defensive tackle. I like Auburn up front. I think Auburn is stout up front. Now, it has not faced an Oklahoma-type offense that is as balanced as Oklahoma can be. With Blaylock, who's the SEC Freshman of the Week, we know that. And then Auburn has also not faced the dual-threat quarterback that John Mateer is coming into this ball game on Saturday. But so far, so good for Auburn, especially up front on that defensive front for Auburn.
We're only 25% of the way into this regular season, so we're all trying to figure out what kind of teams we got. But if you had a concern early, either side of the ball, maybe it's special teams, what would you say it is about Auburn?
And I thought it would be a strength from the get-go, and it's been the secondary a little bit. Baylor threw for over 400 yards, and Sawyer Roberts is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He threw for 440 the next week at SMU in that double overtime win. So, it's quality. But Auburn missed 30 tackles in that Baylor game. It hasn't had that yet since, but that's a concern. The throws over the middle have been a problem for this Auburn defense. I'm sure that Oklahoma has seen that in the game film, and Auburn will see that this week. But if there is a concern, and Auburn has been a little bit banged up in the secondary, it is at back 4 or 5 when Auburn goes to the nickel.
Final question. We'll get you out of here, Andy. Thank you for your time.
You bet.
What kind of a feeling are you getting from the fan base as far as what kind of traveling party they're going to have to Norman? One of the fun things about this year for Oklahoma is there's 7 home games. 5 of the 7 teams have never played here before. And Auburn certainly is one of those. So it is great to welcome new fan bases. We loved it so much getting to experience Auburn for the first time last year, getting to see the eagle fly for the first time last year. Do you get a sense of how many Auburn fans may be headed this way?
I do. And as a matter of fact, the Auburn Alumni Association is hosting a huge tailgate party in Duck Pond. Can you tell me where Duck Pond is? I get that. Yeah. That's where I'm told.
I can't. And just east of the stadium. You find it. Hopefully it's not in Duck Pond. Hopefully it's next to Duck Pond. Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
They're expecting anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 just for that tailgate. So the fact that this is Auburn's first ever trip to Norman, I think there are a ton of Auburn folks that are making this. Auburn had a huge contingent at Baylor. Auburn probably had 10,000 of the 47,000 at McLean Stadium. And I don't know how many are making this trip, but they felt it was important enough to host a big tailgate party. And so, I think there will be a big orange and blue contingent heading to Norman this weekend.
The good thing about Auburn being orange and blue is, unlike when we've had some red teams visit before, and we won't talk about the crimson one that lives in your state, it's hard to tell the difference between the fans because everybody's wearing the same color. We'll be able to see the Auburn fans. There will be
no Auburn fans in red, I guarantee you that.
Absolutely, yeah. Andy Burcham, one of the great voices in all of the Southeastern Conference, kickoff just after 2:30. You can hear his call on the Auburn Radio Network. Andy, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it. Have a great call.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you this week, Toby.
Thank you, Andy. And thanks to you folks for watching again this week in our play-by-play preview. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Please, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.